All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen watching us all over the world. Well, you're welcome to another episode on the life transforming testimonies. Well, I just want to hope that you're not tired yet. Well, we have a few more to go, but I must confess that this has been really life transforming. My name is Anu Ojo, and we're coming to you live from Kyiv, Ukraine. For everyone watching us on Facebook, thank you. Please, I would like to encourage you to kindly share this video on your timeline by clicking on the share icon. You could also suggest this video to your friends, or you could, invite people to join you while we're watching or while we're having the program live. And if you're watching on YouTube too, thank you. You're not left alone. We recognize you and we appreciate you for joining us on our YouTube channel. And you could share this video to your friends also by sharing the YouTube link. And if you're not yet a subscriber on Dr. Sunday Adelaja's channel, I would like to encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell for you to get more information and for you to know whenever Dr. Sunday uploads a new video on his channel. Well, yesterday was another interesting journey, interesting testimony, and I mean an inspirational one, I must say. And if you're watching us right now and you missed that of yesterday, then you missed a lot. And if you missed any of the days that we've been having these life transforming testimonies, I want you to know that you can actually go back to watch them because they were recorded and they are stored on Dr. Sunday's YouTube channel. That is Dr. Sunday Adelaja. So if you go to YouTube and you search for Dr. Sunday Adelaja, you're going to find a playlist that is titled Life Transforming Testimonies. So Life Transforming Testimonies is the name of the playlist that has all of the recorded videos that we've done on the life transforming testimony. So you could go back and pick on any topic that interests you or any video that that gets your attention, and I can almost guarantee you that you'll find something that would in one way or the other add value to your life. I always say this, that since I read Dr. Sunday's book titled Process is the New Result, I had a major paradigm shift. I've always heard about process, and also knowing the kind of society we live where results is what people pay attention to more than the process. And coming even from the Nigerian and African kind of worldview and mindset, where there's little or no emphasis on the the importance of process, and just paying the price to get whatever results. We're generally people of immediate gratification. We just want to get our result fast, and so anyway we just want to get the result. But when I read that book, Process is the New Result, it made me appreciate the value of process even more. And that's something that I've tried to also communicate with the guests who have graced this platform to share their experiences. Yes, we want to know the results they've gotten in their life, because by your fruits, people want to see your fruit, people want to see your results. But if you really want to know what made them who they are and what actually led to the results that they have, then while we celebrate their results, we must take our time to really understand their process and the journey that they went through to get them to the place where they are. And that's exactly what it has been for me. It's been so amazing to learn from people's journey, learn from their experiences. To go through the different emotions that they went through when they were going through their own processes, and to appreciate the journey. Sometimes it's about appreciating the journey. The times where you almost lost faith. But just at that point of throwing in the towel, you found someone who could help you. Maybe maybe some of them stumbled on Dr. Sunday's material. Some of them met him, and their faith was restored. Their hope was rejuvenated, and then they had the hope, the faith to keep moving and to achieve their goals. Well, today we are having another guest who would be sharing his own journey. And I particularly love the title for today. And if you can see it on your screen, it says, "My Remarkable Journey with DSA." So this is definitely going to be a show that highlights the journey, the process. And today we have joining us all the way from Kampala, Uganda, Dr. Adebiyi Ogunsanya. Good evening to you, sir, from Kyiv, Ukraine.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Anu.
How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, we're happy to have you join us all the way from Uganda. First, I would like to ask, how is Uganda today?
Uganda is okay. We're coming out of the lockdown.
All right.
Of COVID-19. Yeah, but we're fine.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you join us, and thank you for making yourself available. Even though we're meant to have you earlier, but due to some technical issues, we couldn't. But we're happy, and we appreciate that you made out, another time for us to learn and to experience some of the journeys that you went through in life, and to learn from your life. And that's exactly what we're going to to be doing today. So I'm sure there are people who are seeing you for the first time, and they will definitely be interested in meeting you, to know you. Who is the young man we are we are seeing on our screen today?
Oh, Dr. Anu. Yes, thank you very much for having me on this program. Thanks to you, Dr. Anu, and the DSA team, and especially thanks to DSA for making this platform available for people like me. Well, my name is Adebiyi Ogunsanya. I'm a medical doctor. I'm originally from Nigeria, as I'm sure most people can tell from my name.
From your name, yeah. Yeah, please keep speaking. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Please keep speaking. Are you done? Are you done with your introduction?
Oh, okay. Okay. I can continue.
We'd love to know you more. Yeah, we know your name, but let's know you more.
Yes. So, like I said, I'm originally from Nigeria. But right now I live and work in Kampala, Uganda. I've been in Uganda since the year 1997. So that's almost 23 years. Yes. I am happily married.
Awesome.
Yes, and I usually refer to my wife as the answer to my prayers.
Wow.
Because there was a time when I was in medical school, after I became born again, I understood that I needed to find the right future partner for me. So I began to pray about that, and the Lord answered my prayer. And that's partly why I am in Uganda today.
Is she Ugandan herself?
She was born in Uganda.
Okay.
But now she's a Nigerian.
How did she become a Nigerian?
Well, she became a Nigerian by marriage.
Okay.
But before then, when we were in medical school in Russia, she actually had Nigerian roommates, and she learned how to cook Nigerian food. And I think at that time she didn't know that God was preparing her to become Nigerian. Yes. We are blessed with two wonderful children.
Awesome.
Our princess is now 22 years old, and
Okay.
our prince is 18.
Beautiful.
Um, yes. What else can I say? Of course, this program is about my life journey, and of course, my remarkable journey with DSA.
Yeah.
So, if I'm to start from the beginning, I come from a village called Idowa. It is a village in Ogun State, in
Okay.
western Nigeria.
Great.
Uh, we call it Idowa City, but we know it's a village. And
You're speaking things into reality.
yes, we have to accept the truth. And the nearest big town to our village is Ijebu Ode.
Ah.
Yes, so Idomila is one of those villages near Ijebu Ode, and Ido
Ah.
one of those villages near Ijebu Ode.
So that means pastor will call you Araile because that's what pastor is to call anyone who comes from Ogun. Anybody that pastor sees and the person is
Yes,
saying that is Ogun Ijebu. Pastor is always excited. That's my
that's,
Omoile. Sorry, I say Araile, my Omoile. That's the person. So you are really Omoile with pastor.
yes, that's true.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Um, I was born into a polygamous family. Um, my father was a civil servant, but he was also a chief, a traditional chief. He had the title of Otumba Anikilaya of Ijebu land. I'm sure you also know the Yoruba names can tell from the prefixes uh, some things about the family. So the prefix Ade means crown, which means that I come from a royal family. And incidentally, the current Awujale of Ijebu land, Obasiki Radetono, is from the same ruling house, the Anikilaya ruling house. Yes, yes. So my father had 8 children from 3 wives, while my mother had 6 children in her first marriage.
Okay.
And then a time came when my mother separated from her first husband and married my dad, and I was born.
Got it.
So I am the youngest in the family of 15 children. I've had 8 older siblings on my father's side, same father, different mothers, and 6 older siblings on my mother's side.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we lost one of my older brothers 3 years ago. Yeah, yeah. But I am the link between both sides, you know,
Great. Great.
because I'm the only child that my mom had for my dad. DSA shared something about how he never met his biological father
Yeah. Yeah.
and how the Lord later on gave him an understanding that God actually needed a specific genetic mix, you know,
Yeah.
and that allowed his biological father and his biological mother to meet so that he would be conceived because
Yes.
of the assignment that God had for him.
True.
So when I had DSA share that, I felt encouraged, you know, because sometimes you may ask yourself questions about how you came to be, and you're wondering why did this lady leave her first husband and this man who already had his own other wives and children,
Yeah.
But I felt encouraged that God has a purpose for my life,
Awesome.
and He allowed my parents to meet and allowed me to be conceived.
Wow.
Yes. Another thing about my family, my upbringing, is that we were brought up in an Anglican family. Um, my father used to be very active in the church as a leader. He was what they call the synod, the archdeaconry. He was really a leader,
Yeah.
though he was not in the clergy. And I would say that our family was middle class because my dad was a civil servant, though he was a public administrator, so he worked at the secretariat. Uh, could remember as a child growing up, he was working at the secretariat in Ibadan City,
Yeah.
up until the time when he retired from civil service. And my mother was a teacher for many years. Um, I remember when I was younger, and she used to work in the schools board and then later on Ministry of Education. And sometimes they would go to different schools to do what they used to call inspection.
Yeah.
I remember one time asking her, after going to church and learning that God is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords,
Yeah.
one day I asked her that, does it mean that she's a teacher of teachers? Uh, because you would go to those schools to inspect them, and
Yeah.
she really mentored very many younger teachers.
Teachers.
Yes, and her three daughters actually followed in her footsteps and also
Wow.
be.
Wow.
Yes, I don't know if I more.
She was definitely a good model, because
Oh yeah,
for our
yes,
daughters to want to, I mean, for our daughters to decide, to
yes,
go that same path, it meant that they were really, I mean, influenced, and not just influenced, but they were positively influenced by her, and they saw treasure in that, and they decided to do that.
yes. An incident several years ago, I got this understanding that you know there's a way usually uh, there's a way that teachers are not well paid
Yes.
traditionally. Um, so at least maybe in Africa, I guess. So I remember there was a time I had this understanding that God always has special blessings for good teachers, and those blessings are enjoyed by those good teachers' children and even grandchildren, because they would go to some offices where they don't know anybody and they
Yeah.
need help,
Yeah.
and maybe something would trigger. They would find maybe one of their parents' former student or former pupil, and maybe from the family name, those ones will ask, so which Olaleye is this, or which Ojo is this?
Yeah.
And then when you explain, oh, is the Ojo from the other city or the other village or the other town, they will say, oh, you mean you are so and so's child? Then they'll say, oh, actually, I can see Mama's face. I can see the resemblance.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yes.
somehow doors would open, you know, doors would just open for those children and grandchildren of good teachers. So I had that understanding, and it actually happened to me. And some of my older siblings also shared with me several instances where they went to places, they needed help, and when those people discovered that they were Mrs. Olaleye's daughter, I mean, they found favor.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Um, a few years ago, I guess the Lord modified that revelation for me that, well, His special blessings are not only for good teachers, but whatever your profession, whatever your occupation, whatever your vocation, if you do it well, those special blessings will follow you and your children and grandchildren and maybe even descendants to come after that will enjoy those blessings. They will reap the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I agree with you 100% with that. Yeah, I agree with you because every good deed, always comes back with ripple effects of even better blessings. And just talking about teachers, I just feel this is a very good place to just give a shout out and a word of appreciation to anyone who is listening right now who is a teacher, or maybe your parents are teachers, or you have a sibling who is a teacher, or you're related to anyone who is a teacher. I think this COVID-19 really revealed the value of teachers. I watched some remarks and some commentaries from parents who had to be with their kids at home, and they're like, this is just this is a whole deal of work. I mean, where are the teachers? We need them now. We need these kids to go back to school so that the teachers can handle them.
Yes,
They really saw how essential teachers are. And I personally, I think there is no amount of reward, and there's no amount of salary that can be given to really to appreciate the teachers, because they are the ones who are really creating and impacting knowledge to everyone. So everyone who is living right now, I mean, only if you're an illiterate, but if you went through the educational system, I mean, thanks to those teachers, because they are the very ones who taught you how to even say A, B, C, and they taught you to where you are right now. For example, you're a medical doctor. Well, you're a medical doctor, sir, thanks to the very person who taught you A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, because it was right from that place in your either preparatory class or kindergarten that took you to your primary school, to your secondary school, to your medical university, even to where you are right now. So, I mean, a big shout out to our teachers who are on this platform. We just want to tell you that we appreciate you. I just think this is a good thing to do. Yeah. So amazing background you've given to us, sir. So let's get to the part. You said you studied in Russia. So
yes.
how did you get to study in Russia? What took you away from Nigeria? And why did you decide to study medicine? Maybe that might be a good story you could share with us.
Now, that's an interesting story. I'll go back to the fact that, like the way you have pastor's kid.
Yeah.
So I am a teacher's kid. Okay.
Yeah, it's TK. They call us PK. Oh, yeah, TK.
Yes. So right from the time I began school, from nursery school to primary school.
Yes.
Our mother she placed a lot of emphasis on us doing our homework, studying hard to excel. And she was also very particular about our handwriting, by the way.
Handwriting.
We used to practice handwriting at home, So by God's grace, when I was in school, I was a brilliant student. Okay, I used to be a brilliant student. Towards the end of my primary school, then all through secondary school, from 1 to Form 5. And at the end of Form 5, I actually had the best result in my school.
Awesome.
What we call WASC,
the West African
exam for ordinary level.
Yes.
But unfortunately, when I went back for A level in the same school, I became playful. Okay? Maybe I should mention at this point that my mother passed on when I was almost 15.
Oh, that was early.
in 1983.
Wow.
At she passed on about a month before we resumed the academic year for my Form 5, the final
Wow.
year.
Wow.
Uh, in spite of that setback, I still went ahead and got very good grades
Great.
in my.
Yeah.
But then when I went back to school for my A level, you won't believe it, Dr. Anu, I became playful. Number one, I fell in love with a game called chess. I learned how to play chess,
Okay.
and I'm obsessed with that
With
game.
chess. Wow.
To the, sometimes I could even miss classes. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Then apart from that, I fell in love with reggae music. There's a style that they call ragamuffin. Okay, there used to be this yellow man, some albino guy, you know.
Okay.
So I played music, and I also decided to have a girlfriend. Unfortunately, I underestimated A level. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
I think I became overconfident, and
Uh-huh.
I assumed that the way I excelled in my O level was the same way, you know, A level would just be a walkover.
Yeah.
But I'm shocked. and, and DSA talks about cause and effects.
That's right. That's right.
When when I did my A level exams, I failed woefully.
Ooh.
I had to repeat that year of sixth form.
Wow.
Now, you know how the jam system used to be in Nigeria. I don't know how it is now. But what happened was, in Form 5, I sat for jam exam, physics, chemistry, biology, because I wanted to do medicine. But I missed the cutoff mark for medicine by just a few marks.
Hmm.
When I went to lower six, I sat for jam again. Again, I missed the cutoff mark for medicine by just a few points. And I didn't want to do any course apart from medicine.
Why? What made you choose medicine?
That's another story.
Okay.
I, I chose medicine because when we were entering Form 4 and we had to choose subjects, I used to be very good in science subjects.
Okay.
Okay. You know, physics, chemistry, mathematics, additional mathematics, statistics, those things. I wasn't good in art subjects. So I normally say that I actually ran away from art subjects. At that time, I did biology because it was compulsory in my school.
Got it.
So when I had to choose those subjects, that was when I had to think about what I wanted to study in future. Okay.
Yeah.
So I looked at my family. I looked at my older siblings. I realized that on my father's side, all 8 siblings were in the arts, you know. Then on my mom's side, out of 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls, all the 3 ladies had gone into education,
Yeah.
following those
Your
footsteps.
mom. Yeah.
My brother had studied business administration.
Got it.
Then 2 older brothers had done engineering. So I could have chosen engineering, but I thought, no, let me choose something different. Since
Okay.
we're 2 engineers in the family, let me choose medicine. And then I thought that, you know, being the last child, by the time I become a medical doctor, I'll be able to take good care of our parents.
Yeah.
Because I found that by then they will be old already, you know, I will be able to be the doctor for the whole family, you know, that kind of thing.
Beautiful.
So that was why I chose medicine.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So after I missed the cutoff mark for JAM for medicine in lower six, I got angry with JAM. Can you imagine?
You got angry with JAMB, like the board
Angry
itself.
with JAM. I got angry. it's just foolishness, when you're a teenager and you lack wisdom, So I decided that I was not going to do JAM again in upper six. I decided that I would just do my A-level exams and clear it and use direct entry to go into university.
Okay.
So I had double jeopardy because by the time I failed my A-level exams in 1986,
Yeah.
I didn't have a fallback position
Wow.
because I got angry with
You
JAM.
jump, not right again.
So some of my former classmates went into university right from from O level because of their JAM results.
Yeah.
Then some others went into university from lower six, again because of. And at that time, the wisdom was when you are in upper six, don't only do the A level exam, the WIEC exam, the GCE, you should also do JAM so that if the A level results are not good enough,
You can
at
use
least
jump.
university through JAM,
Yes.
maybe, preliminary and all that. Or if now both of them are good, then you could convert your JAM admission to direct entry.
Got it.
So because of my foolishness, I missed out on that cushion.
Wow.
So I had to repeat the upper sixth year in another institution. So now this was 86/87. Now, when I was in lower six, there was a classmate of mine who told me about the scholarship opportunity to Russia, to the former Soviet Union at that time. And I just brushed it off that, Nigeria is not what you know, it's who you know. There's corruption. I didn't imagine myself traveling abroad on scholarship.
Wow.
So I did not have. Okay. When we were in upper six, the same guy told me about that opportunity for scholarship to the former USSR. Again, I brushed it off.
Wow.
Now around October 86, when I had now started repeating that upper sixth year, I went to Ogun State University to visit some of my friends who were already in university. And lo and behold, I met my classmate again. He was already in that university at the time.
Wow.
And he told me about the scholarship. Again, this was the third time. And this gentleman was already born again when we were in A levels. And he told me that, but B, what do you have to lose? He said, if they don't give you the scholarship, it's okay. If they give you, it's okay, So I thought about it. I realized that, yes, I used to be a brilliant student, but some of the people that I used to beat in class had already gone ahead of me to university.
Yeah.
I was repeating A-level exams, A-level, upper six. So I thought, okay, what is true? What do I stand to lose? So I applied.
Wow.
I was admitted.
So it was like the angel that God sent to you that, hey,
Yes.
apply. You turned deaf
Yes.
ears first time, second, sent to you again, apply.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, incidentally, when I now went to repeat the A-level exam, the sixth form, upper sixth form, because I had learned my lesson, so I not only did the A-level exam, the one of WIEC, I also did JAM. I had to.
You're not taking chances this time.
Yes, I had to humble myself and do JAM. Then I also did International Baccalaureate, IB. It was like the equivalent of A-level exams at that time. And it was being offered at that school where I went to repeat. So I was now doing 3 different exams to be able to, so that I would, just use any chance to go to university.
You're a fast learner.
Don't mind me. That was after losing a year. So I thank God I did well in all 3 exams this time.
Wow.
This time I beat the cutoff mark for medicine. And so I had the opportunity to now go to University of Ibadan for medicine at that time. But it was around the time when we were getting the results that I also got the news about the scholarship to the USSR.
That you won the scholarship?
Yes.
Wow.
So I thought about it, and I thought, two things. It could be that this scholarship to the USSR was a window of escape for me.
From?
A window of escape from shame.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Because I was going to, because if I had not been given that scholarship, I was going to go to University of Ibadan for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my classmates are already like 2 years ahead of me, you know?
Yeah.
If not, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this is a window of escape for me. But on the other hand, I was excited about going to Russia because of chess. because at that time, you know, the Russians have always been the grandmasters, the world champions. So there was Anatoly Karpov, there was Garry Kasparov. So I was excited that, I'm going to the country of the chess grandmasters and the chess champions.
I was going to actually ask you this question as you spoke, because you highlighted three things when you got into the A levels, right? That you were doing that got you distracted. So you mentioned that you got obsessed with chess. You mentioned reggae, and then you mentioned that you got a girlfriend, right? So I was going to ask you that when you decided to repeat your A levels, right? Did you get rid of the three distractions, or did you still have them? And how did you get your focus back?
Well, I won't say that I got rid of the distractions, but I changed my environment.
Okay.
I went to a different school because the second part of my primary school was at Luba in Ijebu-Ode, Sonny Luba Primary School. And Sonny Luba also had the secondary section, but then they also had the continuing education section, which was for students who needed to repeat O-level exams or A-level exams. So I was now in a completely new environment. And I was able to now concentrate better than when I was in A-level in my former school.
So you were still playing your chess?
At a low level.
So
because I didn't have the competition that I had in the A levels at my former school, Federal Government College Odogbolu. I think I met only one of my classmates who used to play chess at that time. We just played a couple of times.
Okay.
So, it wasn't a big issue for me at that time.
What about your reggae? Yeah. Your reggae music?
Reggae was still there in the background, but not like when I was at the other school.
Then, what about the girlfriend? Did you break her heart?
Yes, I apologize. I'm sure I broke her heart. Even while we were still at school, that's another story, which I'm very proud of. Yes. Yeah. But I thank God for them.
Yes. Awesome. But I'm asking you this, and I'm so happy with your response, because Dr. Sunday, he has taught many times about the factors of success, and the things that are in the equation of success. And he says there are three things that are in the equation of success, in any endeavor. The first being environment, the second being character, and then the third, knowledge. Yeah. And I remember I was having a conversation with him one time, and then he asked me that, which of these three do you think has the highest influence, in success? Yeah. So, I was so confident, how you can be so confident. I was like, oh, Pastor, it's knowledge. Seek after knowledge. So I was like, oh, it's knowledge and then maybe the next one might maybe be maybe character, and then environment to be like the least. So he was looking at me and then he laughed and he said, well, sorry, that's not right. And then and then he explained that environment which I put as the last, or the least influence is actually the greatest of the three. And environment is actually 50% and plays 50% role in the equation of success. And then knowledge, which I thought was the most important, and had the highest influence, turned out to be the one with the least influence, which is actually 10%. And character, turned out to be 40%. So then I was like, no, this is strange. How? I've never had this before. Then, he began to explain to just make me understand why, knowledge is that low, and why environment is major. And I said all of that to say this, that it's interesting how just one decision you made to change your environment affected your results. It affected the three things that you talked about, that brought about distraction. So for me, I see it as a major lesson here, to people who are probably struggling with whatever it might be. Theirs might not be yours, but maybe they are having some other things that are impeding their success, or impeding their growth or whatever. And they're like, okay, this 1, 2, 3, and maybe just a change of environment can be the only thing that you need, to actually get to your next phase, just like you. So you were still playing your chess, but all you need to do was just not even focus on stop playing that chess. Because sometimes when you try to focus on, when your focus is on whatever you want to stop doing, somehow you kind of get deeper into that thing, and you even get more addicted to it. So you're trying to struggle with an addiction to chess, but the whole idea of addiction is that it wants to get your focus. So when you give it more focus, then you discover that, hey, I'm incapacitated, I can't get myself out of it. And if it wasn't chess, then maybe the reggae music, and then you're trying to fight yourself to say, oh, I would not listen to the reggae music, I would do this, I would do that. But then you realize that the more you struggle, just as it is in a, in the swimming pool, the more you struggle to survive or to to float, the deeper you go into the water. So that's how it is too. So if you were struggling with your reggae music, perhaps you wouldn't even have overcome it, and then the other distraction. But then it's interesting how you just changed your environment and everything, just changed. And you were able to clear all. Now, you didn't even just clear your A levels, which was the only one you failed. You cleared your A levels, you cleared your JAMB, and then you cleared the third one that you mentioned that you did.
The International Baccalaureate.
The International Baccalaureate. So that's beautiful, and that's a major lesson right there. And I think our viewers can learn also about the power of environment. If you can change your environment, a whole lot of things can change in your life. Beautiful.
True.
Awesome.
True.
So please continue your story.
I should continue.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, apart from seeing the opportunity of the scholarship as a window of escape from shame, I was also excited that I was going to the land of chess grandmasters and chess champions.
Yes.
So I went to Russia in September 1987. And, we had to first do the preparatory faculty.
Yes.
The language and doing those basic subjects. So for us, it was physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, the history of the Soviet Union, the history of the Communist Party. So at that time again, I was one of the best students.
Wow.
In the faculty. And I think that was partly because some of those things in physics, chemistry, biology, I had already done them A level,
Got it.
you know.
Yes.
So it was not very new. Um, then, after the preparatory faculty, we went into the university proper,
Yeah.
first course, second course, second year, third year, like that. The real medical school now. Um, so I used to go to the chess club to play chess once in a while, take part in chess tournaments and all that.
Yeah.
And it was also interesting because sometimes you would meet a young boy and he would trash you, you know,
Yeah.
and you, what did I do wrong? What was my blunder? How did this guy beat me?
Yeah.
But it was at the same time. Then I was also actively involved in the Nigerian Students Union
Got it.
in Rostov on Don at that time.
Okay, so you're in
Uh,
Rostov, right?
yes, Rostov, yes,
Okay.
yes. So in the first year, the preparatory faculty, I was just a member of the Nigerian Students Union. Then when I got into first year of medical school, I became the general secretary of the Nigerian Students Union. Then the second year, I became the president. And at that time, I was really busy, Sometimes you will need to visit some of the other institutions, like maybe the university or engineering institute, to help Nigerian students solve their problems.
Yes.
So again, that became a distraction for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, chess was still a distraction for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was clear, now in hindsight, I can see that even at that time, I had not yet learned my lesson. Of course,
Cause and effect. Yeah.
yeah. So when we sat for the main exams, this normal anatomy,
Yeah.
histology,
Physiology.
physiology,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I failed anatomy.
Wow.
And I was given the opportunity to resit this exam a couple of times during the next semester. But I don't know what happened. I still failed the receipts.
Wow.
So because of that, I had to lose a semester. But losing a semester meant losing a whole academic year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was the second time when I was failing and losing a year. Yet I used to be a brilliant student.
Wow.
So it was after now I passed that exam the following year. Then I had the whole of the second semester free.
Mm-hmm.
So I traveled to Nigeria because I had some free time just to visit home. That was when I gave my life to Christ before going back in April 1991.
Oh.
So the amazing thing that happened was that, I had answered altar calls, a few times when I was in secondary school, in boarding school.
Yeah.
But this time I felt like, it was a midweek service on a Wednesday evening in Lagos. I sat in that service, I listened to the sermon, and I felt like the Lord was speaking to me. And I felt like I had answered altar calls several times before, but I wouldn't follow through by going for the fellowship meetings, because we used to call them SU,
Yeah.
Union.
Uh-huh.
Stigma was there, so I wouldn't follow through, But this time I felt like, no, I needed to answer this call. And I felt like the Lord was telling me that, you see yourself as a leader, but the best way that you can be a leader, a successful leader, is when you are on my side. So I accepted the Lord as my Savior, and this time I meant it. And when I went back to school, in Rostov, I realized that a few things had changed completely. Number one, I fell in love with the Word of God. I began to enjoy studying the Word of God. I mean, previously, I was used to carrying my Bible and hymn book when we would go to Anglican church, you know, and then you would get back home and put it on the table or bookshelf until the following Sunday.
Yeah.
Without it, you know. But this time, I had this hunger, you know, to study the Word of God. I would be reading the Word sometimes, and it would be like things were unfolding before my eyes as if things were being acted out. I would read some passages and I would see that, God has a great sense of humor, you know. So that was number one thing that I noticed that was a change in my life when I came to Christ. The second one was that I suddenly realized that chess had been an obsession for me. Because before then, I could be walking on the street and playing a game in my, maybe the game from the previous evening, chess club, and trying to figure out where I had blundered. How did I lose that game, you know? But now, I found myself, it was as if I lost interest in chess. And now I would be walking on the street and meditating on the Word of God, or just worshiping Him, you know? And then the third thing that I noticed was that I fell in love with gospel music.
Not reggae anymore.
Before then, not reggae anymore. Before then, I used to like music, you know, regular music, you know, those different musicians or bands when we were in secondary school. You know, the 80s. There were several groups or bands at that time, you know, very popular, all from America. But this time, I just lost that taste for secular music and I fell in love with gospel music.
Interesting.
And I used to have some audio cassettes, you know, before then that I would record when I would travel on summer vacation to England and all that. But now I realized that when people would borrow those cassettes and not return them, I wouldn't even bother because I was no longer listening to them. And then I came across Maranatha praise music, you know, praise 9, praise 10, praise 11, 12, 13, 14. I just fell in love with gospel music. And then, incidentally, when we used to go to the Anglican church, when we were children, we used to sing in the choir, you know, because our dad wanted us to be active in church. So we used to sing in the choir in our village, the Anglican church in our village.
Yeah.
And also, when we became teenagers, we felt like we were too big to sing in the choir. So we started serving as ushers. We would help to collect offertory. At the end of the service, we'll go to the vestry and count the money and, you know, record and hand over to the catechist or the lay reader or whatever, you know. Yeah. That was our way of God at that time. So at this time now, after I've given my life to Christ, I joined the Students' Fellowship in my city. We had some
in Rostov, right?
Yes.
Russia.
Yes. So there was a fellowship with students from different countries: Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, Liberia, Sierra Leone, India, Tanzania, you know, DR Congo. So I joined that fellowship, you know. I began to fellowship with them. And it was a nice time, you know. We had this brotherly love. So that was when I joined the worship team. I started singing, you know, in the worship team. Then I learned how to play the drums because we had of the brethren there who could play different instruments. I used to admire the guitar and the keyboard, but I think I didn't have the discipline to learn them. So I would start and not continue. But I used to I learned how to play the drum. Then eventually, a couple of years later, when we got involved in the Russian Pentecostal church, one of the Pentecostal churches in our city, I became a worship leader in the Russian church. So those days, after, in 91, the Soviet Union collapsed.
I was just going there because I was waiting for you to to land so that I don't interrupt you because of course I wasn't born all those time, but I've heard stories, right, of the whole Soviet Union, especially Dr. Sunday, him sharing his own part of the story, because I think it was around the same time too, in 86 or 87, he also traveled to Belarus, right? So yeah, I don't know if it was 86 or 87, maybe you might know. 86, yeah. So around that time, right? And I mean, he talked about how things were really, difficult that time as regards, standing up as a Christian, and then the underground church and all of that. So I was going to ask you if you had the same kind of experience as a Christian. Were you guys having the underground church, or what was it like at your end?
Now, by the time I went in 87, Mikhail Gorbachev was the General Secretary of the Communist Party.
Yeah.
And he came in with two concepts. One was perestroika, restructuring. The other was glasnost. Glasnost. I think that's openness, yeah?
Yeah, glasnost, yes.
Yes. So at that time, he began to relax the hold of the Soviet Party, on the country, on all those republics and all that. So I think that contributed towards the collapse of the Soviet Union in 91. So to Christ in April 91. So remember, from 87 to 91, I used to see myself as a good Christian.
Got it.
A good Christian. Even though there was no Anglican church at that time, so I really wasn't going to church on Sundays like before. So it was after I became born again in April 91 that I now joined this Students Fellowship.
Okay. So it was in 91 after the collapse of the Soviet Union that...
Before
the collapse.
September 91.
But
already by the time I joined the fellowship, we used to meet in the hostel as international Christian students.
Okay.
So at that time, we didn't know much about the Russian church.
Okay.
We just knew about the Russian Orthodox Church, which we were not part of. Some of the African brethren who came to Russia when they were already born again. Like the way TSA went in 86 when he was already born again.
Yes.
With other brethren like that in our fellowship who came to the former Soviet Union knowing that they were going to serve God apart from. So some of them already had contact with some Russian Christians, some Russian believers.
Got it.
But I didn't have that experience. So it was after 91, I think around 92 or 93, when there's a particular Pentecostal church that started in our town. And then our fellowship leaders said we should go and support them with our gifts and all that, and support the ministry. So that's how we started operating. Oh, actually, what happened was, and I'm going to get to how I first met DSA, by the way. It was in summer 91.
Okay.
So what happened? So the Christian Students Fellowship used to have conferences during the summer and winter holidays. Okay. So in that summer of 91, the conference happened in Moscow. I had for the first time. And the guest preacher, the guest speaker was Pastor Kumui of Deeper Life Bible Church.
Uh-huh.
So my first time of seeing Brother Sunday.
That was what you guys used to call him that time, bro. Sunday.
Yeah, we used to call him Brother Sunday at that time.
Uh-huh.
And a brother from Zimbabwe who was already a pastor in Kiev, Pastor Henry.
Madava, yes.
So the two of them were interpreting for Pastor Kumui, interpreting from English to Russian.
Got it.
So you can imagine how I felt. Here I was, newly born again, with a lot of zeal and all that. And here I was seeing my fellow African students speaking the biblical Russian language.
Wow.
Like the way there is KJV English. So
yeah.
I felt challenged that, where have I been?
Wow.
All this, And at that time, we used to have our own fellowship in the hostel in English language because we were all English speakers. So it was from that conference, and I think after that, Billy Graham also came and did some crusades in Moscow.
Okay.
In summer 91, and they distributed Bibles in Russian language. So our fellowship leaders got some Bibles from another conference, actually, by another American evangelist, and came to distribute to us in the fellowship in Rostov. But for me, I got my own Russian Bible from the Billy Graham crusade.
Okay.
I was challenged that no, I have to start reading my Bible in Russian language.
Beautiful.
So encounter with DSA.
Wow. So you have known DSA like forever.
Since 91.
Since 91.
Yes, from a distance.
Yeah, but that was at least you saw him first.
Yes.
Wow.
And after 91 summer, I saw him again during the conference of 92 winter around February, then 92 summer, then 93 winter, then 93 summer. But around 93, because of the new system, from the USSR, there was now Commonwealth of Independent States.
Yes.
So there was a time when Ukraine stopped allowing us to cross without a visa from Russia. Just like you have to first go to Moscow to get a visa to be able to enter Ukraine.
Got it.
But then you could easily just enter a train and cross to maybe Kharkov or Kyiv,
Yes.
That, even apart from the regular train, there was also Elektrishka, which was for short distances.
Yeah.
So I think in 93 summer, the conference was in Vinnytsia.
That's in Ukraine.
Yes, in Ukraine. And some of us still struggled to cross the border.
To find your way there.
Yes.
For the sake of the gospel.
Yeah. That feel of, you want to serve the Lord, those things. You're in a foreign land, you want to minister to the Russian people. Yeah. So at that time, around 91, so the system now became more relaxed. So there were evangelists coming in from abroad, especially from the US.
Yes.
And for a number of new churches that were started around that time. So we also used to know about the registered Baptist church, registered Pentecostal church, then the non-registered Baptist church, and the non-registered Pentecostal church. The difference between the registered and non-registered was that the ones who were non-registered, they believed that registering with the government was like sin or evil. So they refused to register. And there were those who thought, let's just register and have our services in peace. Those things of following them and all that.
Yeah.
So there was that debate.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the Pentecostals, they used to use the same hymn book.
Yeah.
The only difference that the Pentecostals would speak in tongues, and the Baptists did not believe in speaking
Speaking
in
in
tongues.
tongues.
So it was an interesting phenomenon, getting to know those different types of the Russian churches. Yeah,
Interesting.
it was an
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. So
yeah.
from 1991, that was like your very first encounter. That was, and I'm not sure. Did you get to interact with DSA in during those your conferences in 91, 92, 93?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we actually met physically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but for him, he was one of the fellowship leaders.
Uh-huh.
One of the fellowship leaders, the International Christian Students Fellowship. For me, I was a new convert.
Hmm.
So just know those our seniors, brother so and so, brother so and so, either from Nigeria or from Ghana, from
Yeah.
different cities of the former Soviet Union. So I don't think I remember meeting physically face to face, like maybe getting to introduce each other. But I think somehow he got to know about me somehow. But I don't know the details.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Because what happened was, um, I left Russia in 97. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember, I went in 87. I was supposed to graduate in 94. But because I lost a year due to anatomy, I graduated in 95.
Yeah.
And before I graduated, I felt the Lord was telling me to stay back in Russia.
Okay.
To Yes, to serve in the church. Already at that time, I was a worship leader. So by the time I was graduating, I had also discovered God's will for marriage.
Awesome.
Yes, and we were in the same fellowship. That's another beautiful story.
Was she also singing?
Yes,
Ah.
yes, she was in the worship.
So it was
She
a
was in the
worship.
worship.
So the worship environment was the
Yeah.
awesome.
We have this saying in Yoruba language that thing that you traveled all the way to Sokoto to look for
Is in your
was not
Shokoto.
the pocket of your Sokoto, your trousers.
Yes, 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 yes,
You,
yes.
you know, there's that phase when you're in school, you're in fellowship, you're thinking of future partner. You people are praying seriously that God should reveal to you, the right person, those things. So, so there were times when, I would maybe when this is another story entirely. Maybe
We can devote a whole day for the story, right?
you know how you can meet a sister and you think she's attractive, and in your heart you're asking the Lord, could she be the one?
Yes, Lord. If it could be my will, let this will
You
be
know,
done.
you know, and then you get to hear later on that, oh, by the way, sister so and so is engaged to brother so and so. Then
Ah,
you feel, oh no. And I
wow.
was thinking maybe she could be the one.
Yeah.
But the long and short of the story is that God opened my eyes, that, he had to tell me one time that he has very many, many beautiful daughters. And that if I would keep going like that, looking, I would, make a mistake.
Good.
Because I had misinterpreted the scripture.
Okay.
There's this where Jesus told the disciples, the Garden of Gethsemane,
Mm-hmm.
and they came out 3 times they were sleeping.
Yes.
Told them, could you not tarry with me 1 hour?
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, watch and pray that you may not fall into temptation. You remember?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know where I got this interpretation. The interpretation was watch and pray so that you don't fall into temptation. So while you are praying for something, watch so that when the answer comes, you won't miss the answer. So because, I was asking the Lord, for the right person, I wanted his will, his perfect will, and this and that.
Yeah.
So when I come across some sisters, I will be asking the Lord in my heart, could she be the one? Could she be the one?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I needed to be watching so that I don't miss the answer. So the Lord rebuked me and told me that I had misinterpreted that scripture.
Wow.
Now, what was that you should pray and watch.
Mm-hmm.
And pray so that you don't fall into temptation, not be watching for the answer so that you don't miss the answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you say you want to be watching for the answer so you don't miss it, you're already going out of faith.
Yeah.
You're going into anxiety. It's like, I don't want to miss the answer. I don't want to miss the answer. And that is not right.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he told me that he has very many beautiful daughters. So I should stop.
Because you'll be confused because you'll be disturbing him every time. With every
Yes.
Is she the one? With the next person, this person can be the one. Is she the one? Or this one? So at the end of the day, you'll be moving from your flesh rather than your spirit.
Yes.
That you're trying to do.
After the Lord taught me that lesson, I now switched that prayer. So whenever I came maybe close to some sister, the worship team, you have beautiful stars with beautiful voices, both African and Russian. So now I realized that I had made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the sisters could also be making the same mistake that I made.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I now came close to a sister, I would be praying in my heart that, Lord, if I'm not the one, let her not be thinking that maybe I'm the one. And I mean, it was just my own interesting walk with God and all that.
That's
but
interesting.
eventually, he opened my eyes to realize that what I was going to look for in Sokoto
Far
was
away.
right in the pocket of my Sokoto.
Was right close
I just
to
needed
you.
my sister who was next to me.
Wow. Awesome.
And that's why all had the answer to my prayers.
God,
because
awesome.
that the Lord answered my prayer.
What is her name? You've not told us her name.
Oh, she's called Pasquin.
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 That's a unique name.
Yes, it's unique.
Wow. Awesome.
And she was born in the month of May.
In the month of May too. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow, we just ended the month now. Just a few days ago.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I can see the smile on your face, and it's almost like you're blushing yourself, and it's beautiful because I remember when I told you to introduce yourself, and you started by saying that introduce your name, and then you said you are happily married, and
yes.
It came across not just as just a word, but it was more like that is your reality. And even you just talking about your wife now, I mean, the joy that is coming from you really shows to the whole world that, you're truly happily married. And that's just beautiful to see because, I mean, nowadays, to be very sincere, it's rare to really see, a happy couple, It's really rare because the marriage, institution now is really nothing to write home about. People are really having they're really having hell, on earth in their marriage. So it's just beautiful, to see the joy radiating from you, about your wife. And I think you have to do something about that. Maybe we will have another show. Maybe you should be having a show to teach young men, how to, what's your secret or something, what is happening? Why is this joy coming out? This smile that you cannot even withhold to yourself. But I think it's beautiful to see. It's definitely beautiful to see. And thank you for sharing that part of your life with us. And that's really amazing. But before I come back to you, I just want to say some words to our viewers, because I'm going to ask you now how you got to reconnect with Dr. Sunday after you left the former Soviet Union. So, to our dear viewers, I hope you're enjoying the story so far. It's almost like, just sitting back in your house, in your room, and just learning from the journey and the story of Dr. Adebiyi. And I must say that apart from the fact that he's just sharing his story, there are many lessons we can learn at different points in that story. Coming from the part that he shared about the role of environment, even to him being inspired, and motivated, hearing Dr. Sunday preach in Russian, he got back and he was motivated. That's also a lesson for us, that sometimes, we just have to, be inspired when we see people do great things, when we see people around us, achieve greatness, rather than being jealous or being envious. We can take a cue from the achievements of people and let that inspire us, let that motivate us, rather than being jealous or being envious about them. Because of course he had the choice to be envious or to be jealous, but I think he chose to be motivated and to be inspired. And I think that's a good lesson for us, to learn from him, in the story that he shared, and of course from the story of himself and Mrs. Pasquin, his beautiful and amazing wife, that is obvious that he definitely loves her, seeking the will of God, just following after God's will in marriage. I think is very important, and that's also something that we, young ones can also learn, so that when they ask us questions like this, maybe in 5, 10, 20 years from now, we'll be we'll be able to hold back our our joy and our laughter, and it will be for real, it will be genuine. So that is amazing. Well, if you've not shared this video, I'd like to encourage you to please share the video. I'm going back to Dr. Adebiyi right now, and I would like to know how he got to reconnect with Dr. Sunday, and how his reconnection with Dr. Sunday, affected his life, his ministry, maybe his family, his marriage, and everything he's doing. So back to you, Dr. Adebiyi. How did you get to reconnect with Dr. Sunday after you left the former Soviet Union in 1997?
Yes. So we got married in 97 and came to Uganda, and we had to do our internship.
Yeah.
Main teaching hospital here in Kampala. And after internship, we started practicing in town, in private practice. So in the year 2000, I think 2003, one day I was on night shift. I was on night duty.
Yeah.
And we were quiet at my place of work, and I had access to the internet. So I just remembered some of my former classmates from secondary school. And I wondered where they could be, because I had not really been in touch with them after I went to the former Soviet Union in 1987.
Yeah.
So I went online and Googled a couple of names, and I landed on a website for the alumni of my former secondary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I got so excited, and I reconnected with my former classmates from secondary school. So on another evening like that, I just remembered Brother Sunday out of the blue.
Wow.
And I just thought, I wonder where this brother is now. So I Googled his name, Sunday Adelaja. And I landed on the website of God's Embassy Church. And I could see that this church was started in 94, and this was now 2003. It was already 9 years old, and it had grown.
To a mega church.
Yes, so I was excited.
Wow.
I could see that this brother has been consistent.
Wow.
So I sent him an email immediately, pastor@godembassy.org.
Since that time till now?
Yes, since that time. So I sent him an email. I introduced myself, and I told him that, I used to be in Rostov, this, that, and I saw him during the conferences. And now I just Googled his name and landed on the website of the church. And I'm amazed at what the Lord is, doing through him over there. And then I asked him a question. I asked him, what is the secret of your success?
Wow.
DSA replied my email.
Yeah.
And if he knew me.
As if he knew you.
As if he knew me before. But for me, I was just one of the younger brothers, one of the new converts. For me, I wasn't like on the stage like the leaders at that time,
Mm-hmm.
So to answer my question, DSA said, the secret of a man's success is hidden in his story.
Beautiful. So
he said he couldn't just tell me that it is this one thing or these two things that are my secrets, the secrets of my success. But that what he would do was that he would send me some of his sermons. So DSA sent me a 2 CD pack, MP3.
It sent
them. It sent me 2 CDs.
Yes. Titled what?
Titled Pastoring Without Tears.
So he sent them to you from Ukraine to Uganda?
Yes.
First time you wrote to him?
Yes.
And first time he got to really know you, and you asked him, what is the secret of success? And he responded to your email and decided to send you CDs.
Yes. Double pack. MP3. Each of them had like 25 sermons. And DSA shares the story that in the first few years of the ministry, God did not allow him to travel abroad, even though he was receiving many invitations. When people from outside would hear about the success, visit Ukraine, they would invite him to come and minister at their conferences. But he said the Lord did not allow him to travel out until I think the year 2000. So the first 6 years of the ministry, he was just building the ministry.
So this was what you heard when you started listening to the CDs.
Yes.
But wait, I want to ask you a question. The CDs that he sent to you, you ordered for it and then you paid for it?
No, I didn't even know that he had CDs.
Maybe you paid for the delivery.
Huh?
You paid for the delivery?
No. He sent this to me free of charge, just to answer my question, just to give me a glimpse into the secret of his.
You use the word for DSA. Someone like you, I don't know DSA so much because, I don't know him as much as you would know him or people who have known him all these years. I've just been with him maybe 4 years thereabouts, but in very close proximity to him. But you use the word that the time you search for his name, Sunday Adelaja, on Google, and you saw the church, you used the word consistency, that this man has been consistent. You know,
Yes.
and I'm telling you that that word, it is so, that is, if there's a name that we can use to replace Sunday, as in Pastor Sunday, the name will be consistent.
Uh-huh.
Because what he did to you far back 2003 is what he's still doing till today. Talk about people who do not know him, or who he has never even heard about, writing him messages on his messenger. He responds to every message. Talk about people who, and not his PA that responds to messages. I'm telling you that, like first-hand knowledge. No PA responds to his messages on Facebook Messenger. No PA responds to his messages on his email. Every email, and I think gets close to maybe hundreds of emails every day, he responds to them personally. And that's exactly, and that's still today. And that's what he has been doing, even with from your experience in 2003. Now, let's even take it a step further. You asked him the secret of success. Now, I'm sure you bear me witness that people who achieve great success, they are often prone to wanting to make their success, mysterious, or they want to be, conservative with whatever made them who they are, because they don't want competition and all of that. But that is not who Dr. Sunday is today, at least the DSA I know today. But but what you just said is the DSA of 2003,
Yes.
And the DSA of 2003 saw you asking him for a question, the secret of success, of his success, and then he told you that, okay, hey, so the success of people is in their stories, and then he decided to send you from Ukraine across the ocean to Africa, to Uganda, two packs of his teachings. Talk about consistency. That's the same thing that DSA even does till now. People asking for messages, people asking for questions. He sends books, he said whatever. If it's people asking for money, he sends money to them. If it is, thank God nowadays, people, you can get the teachings on YouTube now. You can just watch it. He's like, this is the man that has been 2003, or maybe before that, even till now. So I'm just trying to, to bring out that word you use on consistency, that this man, that is who he is, and that's who he has been. It's just amazing to hear from you, that this is the DSA you met the very first time you sent him an email, after not even speaking to him or even seeing him for years.
Yes. Now, Dr. Anu, let me tell you something that maybe you did not know before.
Now I'm curious.
Okay. Why the thought of consistency came to my mind. You see, I told you I first saw DSA in summer of 1991 at the International Christian Students Fellowship in Moscow. Okay? Now, when you hear International Christian Students Fellowship, you would expect to find foreign students.
Yes. Yes.
From different countries, Africa, Asia, Latin America, but born-again Christians who are foreign students in different cities of the former Soviet Union. Okay?
Yeah.
And that was what you would expect to find. But even then, DSA used to come with Belarusian brethren to attend the conferences.
He wasn't coming with his black. He wasn't coming with his black community.
The African brethren would come for the conference.
Yes.
But for him, at that time, he was already a pastor in Minsk.
Okay.
He was a foreign student, but he was already a pastor, pastoring the Belarusian brethren.
Wow.
So he would come with them for the conferences. So the conferences will not just be African students. There will be a number of Russian brethren attending.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So They came from other cities. Maybe some came with Pastor Henry or not. I knew that DSA used to come with them.
Wow.
When DSA tells the story that in Kiev, when God told him to start a mega church, he was at first reluctant. And he said, but God, why? Why did you tell me to hand over the other churches to the indigenous pastors?
Yeah.
You know that story?
Yes, of course.
After he left fellowship and started mixing with the Russian brethren in Minsk, he became a pastor. He started the church there. After some time, God told him to hand it over to an indigenous pastor. He did. Then he started another one. Then after some time, after it had grown, God told him to hand it over to another indigenous pastor. He did. So that was why when God now told him to start this one in Kiev, it was like, but God, why? And then he said, God, do you know why? It's because I want you to know that the church does not belong to you. The church belongs to me.
Powerful.
So me, in 2003, when I saw the website of God's Embassy Church, and I could see 99.9% congregation, I just recall those days of the conferences when he would come with the brethren from me.
Wow. Yes.
And because from around 93, we could no longer cross over from Russia into Ukraine without first going to Moscow to get a visa. And who would have the money to first go to Moscow to get a visa, then now travel to Ukraine? So most of us in the Russian Republic stopped crossing to Ukraine. So even though I was still in Russia up till 97, I didn't really know much about what DSA was doing in Kiev.
Yeah.
Him in Kiev was in 93 summer when I think Archbishop Idahosa came to minister in Kiev, and there was some big events in Kiev and all that. That was the last time I saw him physically in the former Soviet Union. So I didn't know that he was back there and started the church in 94. I didn't know until 2003.
Wow.
So you know my excitement when I received these 2 CDs. You know, there used to be this Walkman for audio cassettes. So at that, I bought the one for CD. And I would listen to these sermons almost everywhere I went.
Wow. And
when we were able to buy our first car, I would be playing the CDs while driving. I even became a nuisance to my family because I was so selfish that it was as if I wasn't paying much attention to them. I was just listening. You know, you would listen to sermons. I mean, these were sermons from different conferences because they started traveling to minister in conferences from around 2000. So you will hear maybe it was in Australia or in New Zealand, maybe South Korea, Seoul, somewhere in England, you know, somewhere in the US. So these were sermons from different conferences on topics. And I would listen to DSA and I would be like, I know this scripture, but I've never understood this scripture this way before.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And is it the same Bible that this that reads, that I read? You know?
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of my journey, really, with DSST.
Beautiful.
You know? You will hear things about the gospel of the kingdom being different from the gospel of salvation.
Yeah.
And whenever you would listen, you would know that this is the truth. But you never had it before.
Wow.
You know, there was this kind of Christianity of quoting scripture, quoting promises, blessings, looking at the good parts of the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, DSA will talk about about the church. whether it was from the Old Testament or from the New Testament, the way he would open up the scripture, it was so clear that he was receiving these revelations from God.
Oh God.
That's how I began to learn from DSA's teachings.
Wow.
Of course, there were times when I would, maybe not listen consistently for some time. Then I would remember again, and I would listen. So that's how I began to listen. Then, in the year 2005, I visited Nigeria in November.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting story. I arrived in Nigeria, in Lagos. I was staying with one of my friends who was my best man when we got married.
Yeah.
He's also a medical doctor. So that evening, when I arrived at his place, he took me to the private clinic where he was doing private practice. He worked for the government of Lagos State, but he also had a place where he would go for private practice. So I went with him to that small clinic. So while he was going around, I sat in an office, and there was a newspaper on the table. So I thought, let me just flip through this newspaper. Then I landed on a whole page advert. Why do the nations rage? Psalm 2 from verse 1. Pastor Sunday Adelaja ministering at this present house, Lekki, the following day in the morning. I got excited.
Wow.
I had to ask my friend, how do I get transport to Lekki? I need to go to that church. I showed him the advert. I need to go to this church, this present house, tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Wow. I had never been to Lekki,
Yeah.
So that I went. Pastor, what's his name? Tony Rapu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's his church, yes.
Yeah, so I went. I sat in the congregation. We had praise and worship, and they called DSA, introduced him. He stood on the stage to minister. And DSA has a habit. When he goes to minister somewhere where they don't speak Russian, he would ask if there was anyone in the audience, in the congregation, who spoke Russian.
Who speaks? Yes. I've seen him do that in some of his old videos.
Yes. So when he asked, is there anyone here who speaks Russian? I raised my hand. And I stood up. And he said, oh, Brother B.
He recognized you.
So, yes. So it was like, it was as if he had known me before. He said, oh, Brother B from Kampala, Uganda.
Wow.
I said, yes. So, how we say, Kagdela, Harasho, those is you speak Russian, Then, of course, I sat down and he continued and he ministered. Now, at the end of the service, I couldn't get to him because, there were a lot of people around him. Yeah. And, protocol, all those things. And he was supposed to go to another conference to minister right from this present house. Yeah. And you know how some churches, when you're a first-time visitor, they will ask you to come for a short meeting at the end of the service. They want to get to know you, maybe share a snack with you and things like that.
Yeah.
So I just, I won't be able to see DSA and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? As they were leaving that premises of this present house, DSA asked, where is Brother B? And he sent one of the protocol people to go and look for me.
DSA.
So someone just came to that meeting of first-time visitors and asked, I'm looking for Dr. Adebiyi Ogunsanya. I said, I'm the one. He said, Pastor Sunday is calling you. In my heart, it was like an answer to prayer.
Wow.
Time that I wouldn't be able to see him because there are so many people, and I didn't want to go and meet him.
Yeah.
So that's how I was, and I went to see DSA and said I should go with him in the entourage. So I sat in one of the cars. You know how when you come as a special speaker, special guest in Nigeria, they will have vehicles waiting for you.
It will be long like this, long.
Yeah. So I sat in one of those nice vehicles.
Wow.
And as if I was also a pastor, you know, and we went together to the next place where he ministered. Then from there, we went together to the hotel where he was staying, and he had some meeting with some of the church leaders there until I left. So incidentally, when I sat in that car, there was a pastor seated next to me, Professor Vincent Adigbogu.
Yes, Professor Vincent.
He's a professor of analytical chemistry. He was a pastor in Atlanta, Georgia, and he was also on DSS entourage.
Yes.
So I saw him in his car, and we got introduced. We introduced ourselves to each other. He gave me his business card, so I kept it. Now, after that, DSA went to Abeokuta the next day to minister. I didn't go because I had to do other things in Nigeria, in Lagos at that time. Then on Wednesday, he ministered at there's this other RCCG parish on Victoria Island. There was one famous pastor on form, I think. He passed on a few years ago. It was a powerful RCCG pastor. So DSA ministered there that Wednesday evening, and I was there again. And again, he would ask, who speaks Russian? Oh, Adebiyi, how are you? This is I can't get out. I was feel good that, oh, yes.
Also.
So now I came back to Uganda. This was around December 2005. Then a couple of years later, I saw a flyer that Professor Vincent Adigbogu was coming to have some lectures in Kampala. So when I saw his picture, I told my wife that, no, I know this professor. I met him in Nigeria when I went to meet DSA. We attended his talks. I greeted him again. I introduced myself. He remembered me, of course, from that time. So he now started Institute for National Transformation in Kampala in the year 2008. He had started earlier in Nigeria. So my wife and I were in the first class of that Institute for National Transformation.
Beautiful.
And one of the books they required reading for that program, it's an Oak Seed executive training, leadership training. One of the books was Church Shift. When I read Church Shift, I was like, this is the way church should be
done.
Wow. I felt like our church had missed it. Because by this time, my wife and I had started Alive Medical Services.
What is
a charity.
Okay.
Alive Medical Services.
Okay, what's that?
It's an organization. We take care of HIV positive patients. We provide comprehensive HIV and AIDS care, prevention, care and support, all free of charge. It's donor funded.
Wow.
Yes.
That is impressive.
Yes, we started it in February 2007, and now it's 13 years old.
And it's still operating. You're still doing that till now?
Yes, and it keeps growing. We have seen maybe more than 700,000 patients that we've attended to. We have about 13,000 HIV positive patients that we take care of. People come in and do HIV tests, voluntary counseling and testing, sexual reproductive health and rights. We do family planning. We do immunization for the community free of charge.
All free of charge. You give this to the people. My God.
So to read about the way DSA had trained its church members that number one, they should get to know God for themselves. Then
Yes.
two, they should discover God's purpose for their lives.
Yes.
Pursue that purpose. And then number three, his church members had started many NGOs,
Yes.
Meeting needs of the communities, solving problems, for the society. I was like, this is how church should be done.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And of course, because of our own experience also in NGO work, it was like, if only our church leaders in Africa would understand this and train their members to go and serve God in the marketplace, be kingdom-minded Christians.
Yes.
The world would be a better place.
Wow. Wow.
God would come.
Wow.
So that was my challenge from Church Shift, that I wish our church leaders here would, So there was a time I was talking to DSA and I asked him that, why doesn't he come to Uganda? I felt like if he would visit Uganda, something would happen. Maybe he would sort of encourage our pastors here. I know what DSA told me.
What did he say? What did he say?
Oh, DSA. He said that he felt like Uganda was not ready for him. He said that he didn't want a situation where he would come and minister in one church. That for him to come here, the pastors here would need to organize themselves so that he can meet with the pastors, the leaders, and impart something to them,
Wow.
But he said that unfortunately, he had met two of our top pastors before abroad. Two of the top pastors in Kampala. DSA in some conferences abroad on his, ministry
Trips, yeah.
And he said, unfortunately, the impression that he got from those two pastors that he met was that Uganda was not ready for him to visit.
Wow.
And I thought that was unfortunate, for you. But anyway, God is a good God. Now, after Church Shift, the Institute for National Transformation here, there was a time they brought some other books of DSA.
Yes.
And his CDs, audio CDs. So that was when I bought Money Won't Make You Rich. And I bought The Jesus You Never Knew.
Yeah.
And then I bought the audio CDs.
Wow.
It's like the other two CDs that I got from DSA 3 years before.
Wow.
So I read Money Won't Make You Rich, but I didn't go far with the Jesus. Somehow I had a challenge with it. I'm not sure what. I think maybe there could have been a challenge with the translation from Russian to English.
Yeah.
So when I started reading, I was struggling. So I first put it aside. But I've been told by a brother who has read it that it's a powerful book. I just need to read it. So it's one of the books that I read.
Got it.
Now I've switched to DSS books.
Yeah. Yes. That's part of it, because that's part of the things that because Dosonde actually has a book that he wrote now, which is titled "Why I Write Books." And anyone who has gotten that book, actually the full title of the book is "Why I Write Books," and why you too should
Yeah.
write yours. That's his latest book. Now,
Yeah.
if you anyone who gets this book, because this book is actually available right now on Amazon Kindle Unlimited and I think on other platforms. But one of the things that you discover in this book is that he says that he writes books because books would go to places that he
Yeah.
maybe has never been before, or maybe he has not been to, or that he will never be. So
Yeah.
books would travel across, nations. Books would go to families. Books would go to nations that you might not be able to go to in person. And I'm just thinking about it that you were saying, oh, I mean, how I wish, or what they pity that DSA was not able to come to Kampala. But the thing about it is that all of these books that he had written, they were carrying him already. Those books carry his essence. Those books carry his values and his teachings. So even though he had not visited Uganda, but you already having these books, you were already experiencing him in
Yes.
Uganda. And if more Ugandans, if more Ugandans will get this book, if more Ugandans will get this book, it's almost like everybody will have DSA in their house. They can be reading, they can be chatting with DSA, they can be learning from him, even right in their houses. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're talking about the books. And I think I'm aware that you have some things to do with DSA's books, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe this might be a good place for you to talk about what you're doing with DSA's books in Uganda.
Now, what happened was, I think in 2017 or so, I stumbled on DSA's teachings on YouTube.
Okay.
Then I realized that he actually started those Facebook Live broadcasts in 2016. Okay. So of course, I would endeavor to watch the ones I could watch live, then go to others, which were on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
So this was a new season for me in learning from DSA.
Beautiful.
Okay, from his
Beautiful.
different ways, on money, finances, family, kingdom, church.
Who am I?
Yes, who am I? Then faith,
Yeah, faith
prayer.
prayer series.
Of course, I must confess that I'm not the very disciplined type, who would take one series and stay with it from beginning to the end. No. I would start one, listen to a few, jump to another one, and it's like, how can I listen to all these teachings? Where over all this,
Yeah.
But one of the things that I have seen with DSS teachings is that whatever the topic that it picks, you'll just be hearing new things. You just be hearing new things.
True.
Then the way you used to understand faith was actually not completely correct.
Yes.
The way to understand prayer was actually not completely correct.
Yeah.
To understand going to church every Sunday religiously was not correct, because Jesus had said, the time has come, the time is coming and has now come when you won't have to worship God on this mountain or in Jerusalem. You need to worship God in spirit and in truth.
True.
He brings things out and you are like, where have I been? And then there's a way you can simplify some things and you just understand it.
Yes.
You get it, So A couple of times during the HMTs, he would say, you can even sell my books, and make money from it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he said, for him, he doesn't think about making money from his book. He is living for the next 300 to 500 years.
Yeah.
He's releasing all those things that God has given to him, that he has learned. He's just releasing them, so that people can benefit.
Yeah.
So in 2018, I got the idea that why don't we also buy DSS books and sell them in Uganda? Eventually, we sent some money to buy a year ago, around June, July 2019. So we've received a few batches.
Yeah.
We are yet to receive batches. But I am one of those people, okay, this is my conviction, that the principles in all those books and teachings should be put in the education curriculum of every country in the world.
Wow, of every country in the world.
Country in the world. These principles, these truths, because they are biblical principles, they are truths from the Word of God, truths that guide us on how to live life the right way before God. I believe that those principles should be, some should be set for maybe kindergarten, then nursery, primary school, then secondary school, then university level, different levels of complexity.
Yeah.
So that our children can understand who they are. But a lot of people go through life without knowing who they are.
That's true.
A lot of people go through life without discovering the purpose for which God created them. And you can imagine, some of us are coming across these teachings now when we are 50. And we've been born for 20-something years, 29 years. And we thought we were serving God. I'm telling you, I used to be a worship leader. But there's a way our praise and worship is so set after the Old Testament. The songs of David, the Psalms, of David.
Yeah.
You talk about come into his presence, enter his gates with thanksgiving in your heart, come into his presence with praise.
Yeah.
So we talk about the temple, the outer courts, then the holy place, then the most holy place. It's as if we are thinking of God. How can I say this? It's like you're in church, you are leading praise and worship, but you are doing it from the perspective of now God's presence is coming.
Yes.
As if it is from outside
in.
Yet it is supposed to be from inside out.
Yes.
You didn't all these things.
Wow. And these were the things that when you started listening to Dr. Sunday, from the teachings and all these things where, this understanding, you were getting all this understanding from.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said something, believing in yourself, right? Rather than the place of believing in yourself. You're about to say that now. Yes. And you said that, you started getting to hear all of these things in your 50s,
Yeah.
And I don't, in your 50s. And I feel like, very soon we're going to wrap up the show. And to wrap up, I think I would like you to just say some words, to encourage people who might be watching us for the first time, or people who maybe don't even listen to Dr. Sunday, on why it is important for them to not wait till tomorrow, right? Why they have to start today to begin to learn, like what you said, the truths and the principles, that Dr. Sunday is teaching, not like to carry it on their head that they are oh, DSA family or I'm follower of DSA. No, but for them to just go and just learn, so that it doesn't get too late for them. So I think we're going to do that just very soon before we wrap up the show. But what you've said so far has been really tremendous, and it has been really blissful. But then I know that because in your profile you sent to us, personally I know that apart from the fact that you listen to Dr. Sunday's teachings, which is amazing, and you read his books, you are among those few people who, I don't know why, but when Dr. Sunday came out with his mentorship courses, that is the Millionaires Mentorship course and the Who Am I, you are amongst the very few people who went for the Millionaires Mentorship program and also decided to go for the Who Am I and Why Am I Alive mentorship course. Yeah. Why? Because some people would think, well, I'm listening to DSA already, so why do I need to join a mentorship course? Or I have his books, so moreover, a lot of people are saying, well, it's not a free program, so DSA is collecting money, so why should I go for a paid program? But you went for both the Millionaires Mentorship course and the Who Am I course. I'm just curious to know, why did you do that? And are there regrets? Do you have any regrets that you actually decided to go for this course?
Okay, let me first say that
Hello?
Sorry, there was a call coming through on the phone.
Okay.
Am I back? Am I on?
Let's see you again.
Am I on?
Yeah, I think you're on. We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, there's something that DSA normally says, that when you listen to his or his teachings, if you listen just once, you may think you got it, but you have not really got it.
True.
And you says that you need to listen more than once, maybe 3 times, 4 times, before you really get it. Now, when he says that, when he talks like that, it is not out of pride. It is the truth.
Wow.
Because there are some teachings that I've listened to before. And when I listen to them again, I learn new things.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, with the Millionaire Secrets Mentorship Group, when the news came out, I thought, no, I have to go for this thing. Actually, I talked about discipline sometime back.
Yes. Yes.
There was an original mentorship program that DSA made available for people, which was free of charge. I enrolled on that one, but somehow I didn't go far with it. I wasn't consistent with it,
You're not the only one, because let me tell you something very quickly. People don't even know the free mentorship is still available, but it's the statistics of the progress of people in that it will blow your mind. I think because there are different stages, right? There's stage 1 level, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact statistics, but I'm sure that for people who came in for the first stage, I think there are over 5,000, if not up to 10,000 of people.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure there are more than that who came in for the first stage because they had, DSA is doing free mentorship. Finally I can come and do the mentorship. It's free of charge. And they got into it and they discovered that this is like a whole university.
Yes.
And it's like I need a whole high level, because most people, when people say something is free, they put when you get into it, you see a lot of low quality kind of thing. That okay, yeah, after all,
Yeah.
it's free, so let's just give them any kind of service. But that's not how
Yeah.
DSA works. Everything DSA does is excellent on an
Yeah.
excellent level. So people come
Yeah.
into so we had over 5,000, if not even 10,000 or more, that came into the free mentorship. They got there, and it will shock you the amount of people who left that first stage and got to the second stage. Believe me, we don't, out of the over 5,000, close to 10,000 people who got into the first stage, can you guess, just guess, the amount of people who got into the second stage?
If I'm to guess, I would say 500.
Way lower than that.
Wow.
Way lower than that. I'm not sure we had up to 100 people who finished that first stage to get into the second stage. So it's free. But just like you said, people didn't have the discipline. People were not ready, to, pay attention to it, And it's just interesting. I just wanted to just give out that statistics, to people to just know that it's a different ball game really when you're coming on that mentorship with Dr. Sunday. It's excellence at its peak.
Yes.
Yeah. So please just keep speaking, sir. Sorry for cutting you short.
Now, when I got the communication about the Millionaire Secrets Mentorship Group, I felt like I had to join it. Okay. When I got to know we had to pay for it, I listened to the argument that, when people don't pay for things, they tend not to value them. And to some extent that may be true because, I'm also in the NGO world and we offer free services and all that. So I knew I had to sacrifice and make this payment. And I knew that the knowledge I would acquire from this program would be worth much more than the money that I.
Wow. That is wise. That is wisdom.
Because I had listened to DSA's teachings on YouTube. I have his books on the Kindle format. I have some that I bought from Amazon. I have some that I bought from Okada Books. Now we bought the hard copies, to sell. So I really have his books with me, and his teachings are always there. And I listen. But do you know, just starting that MSMG program, the first day, the way DSA broke things down, there's a way he can simplify things. And you're like, okay. And some of the principles from the teachings I had listened to, the Money and Finance series, we are still going through the same things, but I'm learning new things. So, of course, I read, do not spend the money that you do not have to buy things that you don't need to impress people who really don't care. I read Money Riches Wealth. When people talk about becoming millionaires or money, finances, people just focus on money. But DSA is talking about not only money, but riches and wealth. And you realize that actually, I am already wealthy. God has already given me time.
You're already giving out the but the thing is, like, actually in these books, anyways, so it's not like they're there.
The knowledge is out there.
Yes.
I'm saying that even some of the weekly teachings that
weekly trainings. Yes.
I had listened to all of them from the YouTube Money and Finance series, but there's a way it comes fresh.
The structure that comes with it.
Yes.
The exercises you get, the skill set.
Yes. So there are no regrets at all. Like the one for this week. Okay. Again, I must confess, I've not been a very good student. I received the weekly email. I listen to the audio on SoundCloud. I don't progress to the next step of doing it. In fact, I have to do them before next week, before the I have to do them review webinar.
Before the
2 weeks.
evaluation, yes.
The evaluation, I have to do them before then. But the one for this week, when I opened it, I saw share 2 or 3 stories why you are motivated to become a millionaire. And when I thought back to those stories in my life, I thought, wow, this is powerful. Because we really went through some situations where money was needed. And it was like, if only we were millionaires, we wouldn't have this child. You know, when I know you have to provide for your family, but things are tight. And you are working hard, you're getting salary, but things are tight. Why? Because you did not learn to invest, not learn the money, you know. So there is a wealth, and there's a way DSA does its things. It's not just the teachings, but like you said, the structure. You know, the daily planner. The first time I opened the daily planner, the thought that came to me was that, hey, this is how the Holy Spirit works with us.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the understanding I got. That personal coach. You know, it's like the Holy Spirit, our private teacher, who comes to guide us on a daily basis. It challenges you with questions. It makes you to think, process things that you've passed through in the past, process things. And as you process, you get more revelation of your situation, of your circumstances. It's not just knowledge.
Yes.
You understand? So even the idea of the stories, there's a way they help you to bring out what you need to learn. And what you do.
Yes.
So it's just so in short, there are no regrets.
Wow.
Yes.
Even listening to you right now, it's obvious that you're able to even see the value and the whole what comes with the whole mentorship course and the mentorship program, because many people think it's just the same thing, you know, but just like you said, you know, the structure, the system that is built, you know, the system, the structure, the personal kind of mentorship that you feel like, you know, DSA is with you by the hand, you know, taking you on that journey, you know, it's second to none. You won't find anything like that. And that's really interesting. And I'm very sure that we could keep going on and on and on and on discussing, because you know, you the title of today is My Remarkable Journey with DSA. And anything that is remarkable, you know, is not a very quick story. There are a lot of things to unravel, because that's what makes it remarkable. You know, there are things to really give remarks about, you know, things to really talk about. And I think so far, one thing I want to say that I noticed from you, you know, is your heart of, you know, of humility and, you know, wanting to learn, because it's something that has been also very consistent with your story, you know, right from the beginning of your journey till even this very point in time. You know, your willingness to learn. You know, when you see success, when you see people, you know, achieve greatness, you're not coming with that energy of who is he, who does he think he is, what okay, so he thinks he's the one who is successful now, okay, so, you know, but you come with that spirit of humility to wanting to learn. You know, you ask Dr. Sunday, what is the secret of your success? You know, it's out of that also, that place of humility. You know, you want to learn from the Institute of National Transformation by one of his disciples. Is that same humility, you know, that spirit of wanting to learn and wanting to, you know, just get yourself better than you are. You also started reading his books, you listened to his teachings, you decided to also join the mentorship course. And I think that is something that we can also learn from you. You know, we must always be in that place of humility, you know, wanting to, never to think about, oh, I've arrived or I know something, you know, but just wanting to say, okay, if this person has this knowledge to share, then I can learn from him. If he has achieved a greater result than I have achieved, then why should I be anxious, or why should I be envious? Why should I be, you know, jealous of him? I can learn from him. I can, you know, and then sometimes it might cost us sacrifice, just like you said, it might cost us to sacrifice something, you know, to gain another thing. So that's still coming from the place of humility, because people who are proud can't sacrifice. People who are not ready to learn cannot sacrifice because they think they know it all and they have it all. So they're not ready to let go. But oftentimes, what we fail to realize is that that very thing that we're trying to hold in our hands is the same thing that is making us lose out on bigger things that life wants to give to us or God wants to give to us. And sometimes in life, we have to let go of that thing that we think is so dear to us, or that thing that we think means so much to us, for us to actually receive what God has in store for us. And these are all amazing life lessons that you have shared with us, Dr. Adebiyi. And we're very grateful. Thank you so much for your time. And we're sure that this is not going to be the last of its kind. I'm sure there are still many more stories. I'm sure there are still many more. I'm sure there are still many more stories we can learn from you. I'm sure there's still many more things we can learn from your life. So
I should write books.
You should what?
I should write my own books.
Well, we are waiting for your book, sir. We are waiting for your book. We are waiting for your book. We are waiting for your book. Please go ahead and write those books. Yes, I'm sure people will be blessed with your story. I think you have a remarkable journey, remarkable life story, even from your family, what you said about your beautiful wife. I think that's also a place where people can also learn from you. So please go ahead and write that book. Record those videos. Don't starve the world of the wealth and with the treasure that you have on your inside. The world is really waiting for it, and it's going to really help us be a great deal. So thank you so much, and please send our love to your wife, Mrs. Pasquin. Tell her for being the answer. Tell her we were saying thank you for her being the answer to your prayers, because the joy we see and the smile on your face. It says it all. It says it all. So thank you so very much for that. We're going to come back to you to give your final words, like I said, to encourage people so that they can actually learn from Dr. Sunday. But before we do that, I want to just tell people who would like to join the Millionaires Mentorship Group, all right? It's actually very easy. If you want to join the Millionaires Mentorship Group, or you want to join you want to get the mentorship course, why am I here? The way to do that is just to write to the mentorship email. That is mentorship@godembassy.org. Right now, there is the window is open for anyone who wants to join, right? So if you want to join, the window is open for you to join. And the way to do that is to write to us at mentorship@godembassy.org. Mentorship@godembassy. So this is for the millionaires. Then we have the who am I, why am I alive. So this is also available. So anyone who wants to get it, you can get it by writing to mentorship@godembassy.org. Right. So back to you, sir, Dr. Adebiyi Ogunsanya. What would be your final words of encouragement to our viewers who are watching us right now?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Ano. Thank you again. Thank you, DSA, for this platform, for this program. Happy birthday in arrears. Thank you for being a blessing to this generation and to generations to come. Thank you for being just you, DSA. Thank you. Thank you for being obedient to the Lord. Thank you for being a workaholic. Thank you for being a great example to many of us as a Christian, as a child of God, as a husband, as a father, as a Christian leader, as a pastor, as a personality, as a thinker, as a teacher, as a philosopher. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. There's a scripture that says, I can't quote it properly or correctly, but there's a scripture, I think somewhere in the Old Testament, that says that the Lord released his word, and many were those who published it. I think I'm one of those people who are very eager to publish the word of the Lord coming through the essay, the principles and the truths from the word
Beautiful.
of God, which are being revealed to us through the essay. I can't stop talking about DSA's teachings. So I would like to encourage our viewers, uh, whoever you may be, wherever you may be, please pay attention to the teachings of DSA. Please, please pay attention. If you can get these books, read them, learn from them. If you can go online to the YouTube channel, just listen to those teachings and open your heart to the Lord. I'm sure that if you truly believe in God, when you hear these teachings, the Holy Spirit will witness with your spirit that what you're hearing is the truth. And if you're a lover of the truth, you will accept this principle and you will apply them in your own life. Because one of the things that is important for us is God created each one of us for a purpose.
That's right.
And every one of us is unique. Every one of us is special to God. So we do ourselves a great disservice if we go through life without discovering His purpose for our life. And like we've been told, there's a lot of knowledge out there. Let's be wise. Let's accept these teachings, learn from them, draw closer to the Lord, get to know Him personally for ourselves, discover His purpose for our lives, fulfill His purpose for our lives, so that when we stand before Him on that day, we will not be ashamed.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for today's show. Well, I want to believe that people are blessed, and I want to hope that this show has, been a source of hope or source of faith to people who are watching us all over the world. So, to our dear viewers who are watching, we want to say thank you for joining us today. To our guests too, thank you for being with us today. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back. We're not done yet, all right? We still have till Saturday, actually. Saturday will be the final day, all right? So let me give this out already. Saturday will be our final day with our final guest. So we still have, I think, 4 more days to go, or 3 days to go, thereabouts. So we'll be back same time, 7 p.m. Kyiv time, 5 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Nigerian time, for another life-transforming testimony with another unique guest, with a unique story, with unique life experiences, unique lessons for us to learn from. Well, it's been a wonderful, amazing evening with Dr. Adebiyi. I've been blessed myself, and I hope you have too yourself. So thank you for being with us. My name is Anu Ojo, and till I come your way tomorrow, 7 p.m., have a wonderful evening, and God bless.
Yeah.